Okay, welcome everyone. Oh, that's the other thing. I'm going to turn off my webcam because you don't need to see me sitting here sweating with all the tricky questions that you'll be giving me. So let's get started. We're talking about the support for this summer's results period. We'll be talking about what is needed for results days, which have kind of passed. More on that later. What won't be the same, how the appeals are going to work and what they will look like, details. Then we're going to go into details of the autumn series for GQ qualifications, so-called, and then talk about 2021, what we know so far. So that's going to be the kind of the gist of it. So please, yeah, as I said, don't hesitate to put your hand up if you want to ask a question or type in the chat box. So results, A-level, of course, was 2 weeks ago Thursday. GCSE was last Thursday. And for our A-level and level 3 Btecs, there was a results day of sorts. For our GCSE level 2 qualifications, the Btec decision had been made on the eve of, actually on the Wednesday evening, not to release the level 2 results to the students for the level 2 Btecs. And that was all triggered by a decision on Monday the 17th. The government decided to change what they were going to accept for GCSEs and A-levels and accept centre assessment grades. And so we heard that on the Monday. On the Wednesday, we announced that we would be delaying the Btec results for level 2s so that we could adjust the way that we were grading those Btecs to take them into line with the decision that had been made on the Monday, which was basically to remove the restriction or concern about grade inflation. The upshot of that is that starting tomorrow, regraded Btec results should start to arrive at your centres, and the idea is that by Friday of this week, all regraded Btec data will be with your centres. I've been told to be very clear, however, that as is the case with every results session, there are some centres or individuals or students that still need to be data for their results come out sometime later because there's discussions about errors in data files being used or whatever. But the plan is that starting tomorrow and finishing Friday, all of the Btecs will be regraded. Internally assessed QCF qualifications had started being released during July. There's some links in this presentation to JCQ and ASCL guidance, but we'll just move on past that. You can always click those links if you feel that's useful. So what's not the same, there's no grade boundaries, there's no examiner reports, there's no access to scripts, and there's no inquiry about results. So the inquiry about results process is one mandated by OffQual, which is in place for a standard awarding series, and during the this 2020, the extraordinary regulatory framework means that there's no way we can do that normal inquiry about results, and in its place are appeals. Now, this has been a very fast moving process, but it's still in place, despite the fact now that, and it's the same for GQ, A-levels and GCSE qualifications as for the VTQs, which in our case are the Btecs. Service 1, if you feel that you've sent the wrong data in for a student or for a cohort, you lodge an appeal, Service 1 appeal. If you believe we've made a mistake, it's a Service 2. So those are still the same. And there's some more information on here. There's information about how the appeals, how long they'll take. Another thing that's changed quite quickly over the period is that the cost for appeals has been reduced significantly from when they were first considered. An autumn series has been put in place for GQ. That's GCSE, International GCSE, International A-levels. And A-levels, but of course in our particular subject area we don't have an A-level in IT or ICT. We do have an international A-level. You see the dates on the screen there. The start finish dates are the autumn series timescales, so the GCSEs from the 2nd of November to 23rd of November, international A-levels there from the 5th to the 29th of October. And you have the entry deadlines on the right-hand side. The autumn timetables are up on our website. There's a link to it there. And just to note, at the bottom of the slide, you see there's no Btec. So the decision was made that because most or all of the Btecs are either on demand or have 2 series a year, that the January series will be the next series put in place for January/February, depending on which exact qual you're doing. Now, it's quite interesting for this autumn series, GCSE, AS and A level, in other words, the English versions, only students who had entries for summer 2020 or students who normally you would consider private candidates who could not find a centre that would give them a CAG, but they had an intention to sit. So it's a restricted series for the autumn in terms of general qualifications, GCSE, AS and A-level. For the international autumn series, it's open to any student, so you don't need to show any proof that you'd previously tried to enter in the summer 2020 series. In terms of 2021, I think there's still work to be done. I know that we as an organisation have been approached by OffQual. There was a consultation which closed on the 16th of July, which I believe was heavily subscribed to by teachers, centres, awarding organisations, talking about the problems for 2021. And I don't think this by any means is a finished article, but the OffCourse consultation closed. Decisions, there's a link to the decisions there. There are suggested approaches, and for some qualifications, not ours, I hasten to add, and some significant things have been changed. We have one GCSE computer science qualification where the 20-hour programming project, the restrictions or the conditions under which they had to be run have been significantly relaxed to the point that we have been, it's been confirmed by OffQual that we do not need to collect in sample work from students, which also that it doesn't need to be done under controlled classroom conditions, which means that presumably we can't ask for authentication. That hasn't been confirmed yet, but the head of centre declaration form saying that the provision was made, and the authentication forms I think will end up not being required, but we can't say that yet because we haven't had a full answer yet from OffCourse. And here's a slide talking about the confirmation of that for our computer science 2016 spec. So that's actually the last session. Summer 2021 is the final session for that particular specification. As of 2022, we move on to the new Computer Science 2020 spec. For Btec in 2021, I think, again, this is a work in progress. We tend to get guidance from Off-Qual, clear guidance on general qualifications before the VTQs, as they're referred to, vocational and technical qualifications, get a decision. And so I know that all of our principal standards managers across all of the sectors of the Btec qualification suites are looking very closely on a unit by unit or component by component basis at what we might need or might be able to do for our 2021 series. And there is a position paper talking about the principles that are underpin the approach, but my own personal feeling is that we haven't yet fully understood the impact that the 2021 cohort will have suffered in the lead up to their assessment window. And I feel like the position of business as usual is going to have to be looked at. Btec Level 3 in computing. Going forward, yeah, the Unit 1 and Unit 2 exams, yes, will be paper-based. Now, Mark, I don't know if your question is related specifically to 2021 or looking further into the future, whether we'll be able to migrate to on-screen or online platforms. I mean, we are working in Pearson and we've done some just due to COVID. No, it takes too much. It won't be, I don't think that we're in a position for 2021 to be able to move that. But, it's something we can consider. We have done experiments with moving, so they refer to it as paper behind glass. So we've done some tests in Key Stage 4, so some of the old GCSE papers have been delivered via an online platform, but whether that will be sufficiently secure for Off-Qual and DFE to say can be a formal series or not, we're not sure. So there's no particular plan in place for that at this stage. Btec DIT Level 2, what about not having time to deliver components 2 and 3 in year 11? Exactly, I completely understand what you're saying. Because this qualification has 2 mandatory internally assessed units, a normal delivery schedule would be that you would finish unit 1, but you might start, or component 1, you might start component 2. So lots and lots of centres submitted CAGs for component 1, but it expected from March onwards to the end of the year to have done half of component 2, but weren't able to, and also weren't able to submit a CAG because they couldn't show that they had planned to finish it. So year 2 for this cohort is going to be a massive challenge. I don't understand. When I look at what the principles are in the Off-Qual section, there's nothing talked about that we can take out. So some compromises say to the assessment, but nothing of that is final yet. Nothing that I can give you concrete answers on. But I think once results are out of the way, we'll be able to focus more seriously on the 2021 issue. Yeah, so Nav, really sorry. The expectation is it's going to be business as usual going into 2021. Next week when schools go back, given the restrictions, I mean, I know Some centres are saying that there are, no, I've heard one centre say that they're not even going to allow access to the computers because of concerns over COVID and spreading the virus. That would give you a really really challenging situation to try and deliver DIT with no computer suites. But please do keep involved with us, keep in touch with us, and follow the developments, because I'm sure 2021 isn't sorted yet. Carl has asked a question for the 2021 summer exam series, GCSE. Will there be shorter exam papers? No, there won't. There are some qualifications, GCSE, English, for example, English GCSE for 2021, they were able to completely remove what do you call it? I think it was the poetry element. So they've reduced the size of the qualification. To a certain extent, for our computer science, we've reduced by 20 hours classroom requirement. By changing the way that the programming project can be done out of school, for example. So we feel that we've gained a little bit, but it's all going to come down to whether, well, we're not going to be taking samples in. So, you know, the concept of authentication and header center declaration still needs to be clarified. But I would say there's some gain there. There's some reduction in the size of the qualification. Someone asked earlier, but will there be a January 21 exam series? There is. No. Well, wait. So for Btec, they have a Jan/Feb series. For GCSEs, not. There's the autumn series, and then it will wait till next summer. Yes, Dav, you know, another point, you know, the centre is not allowing access to computers, and for the first half term concentrating on core subjects to make up for lost learning. Yes, you see, I mean, up and down the country, more and more, this is what is happening. And at some point, we will need to take this properly into account. Mark has confirmed, yeah, BTEC. So yes, for BTECs, for BTECs, it's say business as usual in terms of assessments. So if you're doing a BTEC National, it's normally January and summer. If you're doing BTEC Tech Awards, it's normally February and summer, and those sessions at this stage are planned to be going ahead. When the GCSE Computer Science Programming Project Brief for 2021 will be published, Gus. That's 1st of September. It's ready to go up there on the 1st of September. Remember, there are 4 or 5 pre-existing ones, and any of those can be used as well. So you don't have to wait for the 2021 sub-programming project brief to be published. Btec DIT Level 2, following on from Nav, when will the final decision be made about whether we have to complete the whole of component 2 and 3 in such a short time, as we were meant to do what you said with starting component 2 in March? So be very clear, Scott and Nav, as of today, you will, the expectation is that it's business as usual for the academic year, September 2020 through to summer 2021. Around about May, you will be expected to have sample work for component 2 ready for assessment for the standards verifiers. So as in March. So the expectation, you have to embark upon this year with the concept that you are expected to do both component 2 and component 3, and there has been no talk of allowing just learning aim B and C to be done, although the assessment team are open to perhaps thinking about that. As of today, none of that has been agreed. You're expected to provide learning aim A, B, and C for component 2 and prepare your students for component 3 exam. Sorry, that's just how it is at the moment. Computer Science 2016, when is it likely we'll know if we have to submit the Central and Authentication Forms? I'm pushing for it all the time at the moment. We do have commitment that you don't have to submit the student's work and that it can be done at home. So as soon as Karen has asked this question, as soon as you understand that, then the question of authentication should become void, because if it's being done outside of any control, what are you supposed to be authenticating? I just don't know yet. We have not had the formal answer. We've said, okay, so we're assuming no authentication forms, and we're assuming no head of center declaration. Is that correct? And we haven't had a response yet. I'll be letting people know via my newsletter, as soon as I hear anything. So yeah, very, very nice to have had the chance to chat to you all. I'm sorry nobody put their hand up and volunteered to take the mic, so I've just been sitting here listening to the sound of my own voice, which is not much fun. I hope you found it useful. I know I probably raised as many questions as I provided answers, but it's the situation that we're in at the moment, and I wish you all the very best on returning to school. I hope you're all safe and healthy, and that we can return to business as usual as soon as possible.